Boom, 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 boom. Nicolas Sarkozy. Boom, 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 boom. Emmanuel Macron. Boom, 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 boom. Napoleon. Boom, boom, boom. Good evening. Tonight in the Cytrain Media, we bring you news from the world of poetry. As poetry has been implicated in threatening the fragile peace between Azerbaijan and Armenia, as well as being held responsible for the rising tensions between Iran and Turkey. All of this happened after Erdogan recited a poem. He recited a poem when he was visiting Azerbaijan, which was holding its victory celebrations, celebrating victory over their neighbor Armenia in a war that cost over 5,000 soldiers their lives and has around 100,000 civilians displaced, causing leaders from all around the world to say things like, huh? And who? And where now? Even some going as far as saying, I think I voted for one of them at the Eurovision once. However, Erdogan's relationship with poetry is much, much deeper, and we will dive into that relationship tonight. This relationship starts in high school, where the community of Turkish technical painters gives Erdogan a prize for poetry recital. Who the community of Turkish technical painters are exactly, and why on earth they're giving poetry prizes, is yet unknown to us. But we have asked the theorist Alex Jones to come up with a nice conspiracy theorist to explain it all. He has responded. What did he say? Erdogan is a gay frog. I mean, have we fact-checked this? I mean, we can't bring it like this. Fact-check it, then come back to me. Maybe it's something. But also during his time as mayor of Istanbul, poetry has never been far from Erdogan's mind. As while he was mayor, he was arrested and ultimately jailed for reciting a poem. Wait, he got jailed for reciting a poem? No, it's fine. It just doesn't sound right to me. No? Erdogan got jailed for reciting a poem which allegedly called up for hate and violence. However, his popularity only grew when he was in prison, reminiscent of other leaders that have spent time in prison where their popularity only grew. No, I'm keeping it. I'm not talking about him. I'm not comparing him to him. Look, I could be talking about Nelson Mandela. Probably not, but I could be talking about him. I'm keeping this in. No, end of discussion. If you want to know more about this period of Erdogan's life, you can. You can watch the movie Rise, which has an impressive rating on IMDb. An impressive rating of 1.4, making this movie 4 times worse than the movie White Chicks. 4 times worse. Now, ladies and gentlemen, dear viewers, I must be honest. I have not watched the movie Rise. And that's because I believe that Erdogan has been implicated in enough torture as is. And I wouldn't want to put more people on his torture slate. However, maybe the most famous and important poetry achievement related to Erdogan comes from the Hochkultur German poet Böhmermann. Böhmermann in 2016 released a poem in which he said that Erdogan had intercourse with goats and that his private parts smelled like kebab. I mean, that would just make sense, no? If you are having relations with goats, then your junk is going to smell like... I mean, aren't goats made for like 90% out of kebab? I mean, I could go for some kebab right now. Man. I love kebab. In response to the freedom of speech discussion that came out of the Böhmermann affair, UK newspaper The Spectre rolled out a poetry prize, giving the prize to the most offensive poem that would be written about Erdogan. This prize was of course won by who else but British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who in his limerick managed to rhyme Ankara with Wankara.
A limerick that is to poetry what the movie Rise is to cinematography, a solid 1.4. It did, however, prove that with 1 million monkeys you might be able to create the works of Shakespeare. You only need 1 baboon and 1 computer to win a poetry prize. As long as the baboon is educated at Oxford. However, in the latest poetry row, the Iranians have accused Erdogan for calling for the breakup of Iran. The poem he recited calls for the reunification of the Azeris, which have been forcefully separated. Some of these Azeris and their land currently are part of Iran. This has caused the Iranians to warn Turkey and to say that Turkey should not base his foreign policy on illusions, which is a funny thing to say for a theocracy. Also, the foreign minister of Iran has said on Twitter, didn't he realize that he was undermining the sovereignty of the Republic of Azerbaijan? No one talks about our beloved Azerbaijan. But, however, Iranian President Rouhani has tried to calm down the tensions and has said he always recites poetry in his speeches. However, we wanted to bring you this story because we want to emphasize this, that we as the sidestream media believe that troubled artists should never be in charge of big countries. Never. We've seen what happens. That said, this was everything from us tonight. Good night and good kebab. Boom, 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 boom. Oh. Yo, let's go get some kebab, guys. Oh, man, I love kebab, man.